The road to legend has officially started, and for now, we're experimenting with our loner decks to see which deck we'll end up keeping. We decided to start with the Death Knight deck. The game seemed to be going okay for us up until they hit us with the Blood Tab followed by the Swarm Guard combo. At this point, I thought we still had a chance, but we were dead in a couple of turns. So with the road to legend starting off on a shaky start here, we needed to bounce back. We decided that Demon Hunter is just the class for us to bounce back with, and after getting off to an incredible fast start here, one brawl from the warrior was all it took for our hopes and dreams to be crushed. From there, it was a slow, painful game for us where we kept playing one mana per turn until we just had enough of this suffering and decided to concede and move on. Now, with two losses in a row, we decided that we needed to bounce back, and there was only one class we can do that with: Paladin. No shock that buff Paladin is still insane years later. For our mulligan, as you saw there, all we did was we got rid of the expensive cards, kept the cheap ones with us, and yeah, so we decided to play our 1 mana card on turn 1 here, and going up against the warrior here, we felt like it was going to be a decent matchup. Obviously, buff Paladin needs a bit of time to kind of get the buffs going, and Warrior is a slow deck, so I felt like we had a good chance here. And because the Warrior kind of had a slow turn 1, slow turn 2 here, instead of playing another minion, I decided to just kind of go for the Forge here and just kind of wait and see what's going to happen here. So we actually drew our weapon there, which was an insane pickup for us. Now we have a great curve. We have a turn 3 play. We have a turn 4 play. So we're in a very solid spot here. Warrior does what Warrior does, and he gains armor until you're so bored of playing against them. You just want to concede and move on here. So we ended up going for the Muskatron play here that we just forged to get some of these buffs going on our cards here. And for the next turn, it's almost guaranteed that we're going to be playing that 4 mana weapon here. So the warrior is playing fairly slowly here. He just plays another location here. So he is setting up for something later on. But while he does that, we're setting up our own thing here. So we actually decided against playing the weapon here. We decided to be kind of a bit more aggressive, because once the warrior starts ramping up and getting value out of those locations, it's going to be a bit harder for us. So we wanted to get kind of a very fast tempo start here, and we were able to do that here. And we have the 4 mana card and a 1 mana card for next turn, so we're in pretty good shape here overall, I would say. So we ended up misplaying here slightly. We end up playing the minion before playing the weapon and attacking. If we had waited, we would have buffed our cards. And if you're wondering why I didn't decide to put even more pressure, play some of my massive minions here. So that oops is what I was talking about there. We weren't trying to BM. We should have attacked then played the minion here, so it would have been a 4/4 instead. But I decided not to go too aggressive on the board here, just because he could have Brawl, and just like you guys saw in our second game with the Demon Hunter, one brawl is all it takes to shift the meta here. So you can see he's playing Warrior Death Knight, a Death Rattle package here, and he finally gets kind of the play that he's hoping for. He plays his minion here, and it's okay because we are so far ahead on the board here that it's not really going to change too much for him. So right now I'm just trying to think about what the best play to do here. We could kind of play some more minions, get some more buffs going here. And I decided to just get a pretty big board here. With the fact that I saw him playing Death Rattle, to be honest, I was hoping maybe he doesn't have a Brawl. So that's kind of why I ended up overcommitting slightly here. And I kind of made a mistake again of playing all my minions before attacking. Not all of them. The 7/7 girl I needed to play to buff one of my minions to attack, so that was okay. But yeah, we're just not used to the deck quite fully yet. But we'll get there as we continue to play it more and more. So here he has an insane turn 7 here. We actually see kind of the full potential of his deck and what he's trying to set up here. He has 3/6/7s that they're going to be dealing 8 damage each upon dying here, so it's actually pretty insane. So I can see why that the deck he's playing actually performs quite well here, but we were so lucky that it took him so long to get to that point that our minions have a ton of HP here. So, and our hero does as well. We're at full HP here, so we're okay here. So we were just deciding how to trade here. I decided to go for the trading with the 3 attack guy first here, just because I figured he might die from the death rattle, so I wanted to make sure to get value out of him before he dies. Same thing with the 2-1 here. I decided to trade with him first, because if I didn't, there's a good chance he's gonna die from that death rattle. So here I decided to go for the rush guy here and the 2-mana girl. I made a bit of a mistake there, but so it ended up working out for me regardless. I should have attacked with the 8-9 girl in my opinion. That way I would have had more minions to split the damage with. And you saw there we lost that girl there, but it didn't matter. Even though we misplayed, we had the location to buff it. And we were still able to find lethal there. So a pretty fun win for us. Like, we both have pulled off our combos here, but we were just kind of further ahead here, and we get our first win on the road to legend here. So riding off that high, let's see what we're gonna play next. After that incredible win with the paladin deck, we decided to give the shaman deck a try here. So the mulligan for us, we don't really know the deck too well. We just get rid of expensive cards, look for some cheap cards for us to play on turn 1 here. And that's pretty much going to be the case with most of these loner decks up until we get a bit more comfortable with them. So for turn 1 here, we just play the 1/1 Murloc. Nothing too crazy here. And yeah, Warrior can be a tough matchup. But hopefully we can pull this one off with the Shaman deck here. So Warriors don't usually have a lot of plays turn 1 here, and you'll see that our opponent actually just ends up passing here, which is great for us here. You know, the slower start they have, the more tempo we can get and kind of make it harder for them to come back into the game. Kind of like the last game with the Paladin deck. They were just so far behind on tempo that even after they managed to pull their combo, we were still able to just deal with it and win. So turn 2 here, I have a very slow turn here, a 2-mana 1/2 here, nothing too crazy. So we're liking this. The slower the warrior, the better it is for us here. So, and we get an insane top deck here. We get the 3-mana card here, so it was right on curve here. If we didn't draw that, we would have had to just push button, which would have been fine. We're still ahead on board, but that card really made a big difference. And that totem ended up buffing our frog here, which is the best possible outcome there, because we can transform one of our minions into it, and now they're both gonna be buffed. So he deals with that totem, rightfully so. If he let that stay on board for too long, things were gonna get out of hand for him here. But he ends up coining as well, and he gets rid of the 3/2, which is smart from him. He's getting rid of a lot of our board, and with Shaman, a lot of the plays that you can do is you can evolve your board, so it makes sense why he was kind of urgent on clearing that stuff here. So we could play the matching outfits, but all these guys are 1/1s that are just gonna transform it into a 2-mana card, which would not be worth the 4-mana here. There's no 2-mana card as far as I'm concerned that would have made that worth it. So we ended up going for the frog play, and you can see the buff there is massive. We now have 2 6/7s on board here. So Warrior plays some dragons here, so it's not a bad turn. He drops a 4/5 and a 3/4 with taunt on turn 4, but again, it's just like it's a little too late. We're just so far ahead on the board. So we don't have any like insane plays here. We could go for the transformation of all legendary minions, but I just didn't feel the need for it at this point because we're already ahead on board. So I didn't necessarily want to commit and kind of play one of our better combos here just this early. If we're already ahead, there really is no need for it. So we're just gonna trade here with both our 6/7s, clear his minions, and just push some damage phase here. And we just kind of we played that. We got the frog. Maybe we should have pushed button instead. I'm kind of torn about what the better play would have been there. I wanted to get mana efficiency and play my card, but maybe a totem would have been better than the 0/1 frog. But you know what? We're not gonna complain about it. So he plays his card here that he forced. So he ends up clearing a lot of our board here, which kind of sucks for us, but we're still okay with it. We still have a solid board that's still in play here. We have a lot of minions. So what we decided to go for here is just Obviously go attacking first, and then I decided that I'm just gonna transform my 4 mana guy here. We get a decent 5 mana card, 2 3 6s with taunt. Not the greatest 5 mana. There are better cards out there, but you know what? It could be worse. So we just go for that play and push button here. And we're in a pretty good spot here. The warrior has to deal with this. And he's yeah, there he goes. There's the brawl. That's the classic, warrior card. So he drops the brawl here, and we're hoping for a bit of luck. We're hoping to get one of our 3 6s to stick on board, and that's exactly what happened. So we get the 3 6s. It kind of sucks. We ended up losing a lot of our minions here. The Murloc, which was a great card, and we lost the frog here. So it kind of sucked, and that all came from that random 5 mana card we got here. So at this point, things are kind of slowing down for us. We're not in a bad spot per se, but we're not in as good of a spot as we were. But we have the warrior down to 11 HP, so we're still in a decent spot here. So we decided that we're just gonna set up for the transform play. We're just gonna play, yeah, the sky card, and then we're just gonna buff this guy, basically just trying to spend our mana here, get him as weak as possible, and we're just setting up for that 5 mana transform play for next turn. We actually have 2 of them here, so it's good for us. If we don't like our legendaries, we can go for it again here, but this is probably our last chance to go for the transform play, because we already used most of our cards that we can use to make a big board here. So that next turn is going to be kind of our make or break turn here, but it's very lucky for us that he's already used his brawl. So we find ourselves in a very good spot here that we can go for this wide board, and hopefully he doesn't have the cards to punish us here. So we get our pirates here, and just so we can get value out of these guys here, we're gonna trade. But we draw the 3 mana card, and this guy's been coming in at the perfect slot every single time for us here. So we're just gonna trade, push the 3 damage face so we don't lose on that value when you transform them. So we'll push the damage face right now. We're just thinking, and yeah, we're gonna play our 3 mana guy here. I was counting the minions, and I was like, okay, well, we'll be locked out of the board. I can't play my Ziliax, but I was okay with that, cause yeah, we were okay with keeping the Ziliax as it is. There are other plays we can do with the Ziliax. We can also transform it into one card that costs 1 more here. And look at that insane board here. We have an incredible board here. Not the best legendaries, to be honest, but some pretty solid ones overall here. And that's enough for him to concede. And there we go. Shaman gets us another win. So back-to-back wins here on Road to Legend, and things are starting to look a lot better for us here. For our next game here, we decided to give the warrior loner deck a try here, and the game was started off okay. We ended up getting a nice 30 rat. We got his Yogg to come out, and we actually managed to clear it. So it was pretty solid for us, but unfortunately that still wasn't enough. We also almost had an incredible chance to come back with a Reno draw at the end, but we just didn't have enough mana to play it here. So with that, unfortunately our winning streak had to come to an end here, but hopefully we can bounce back in our next game. So for our last game here, we just had the Ramp Druid deck left to try out here, and the game was going super well for us here. We were ahead on board, we were making great plays, had really good cards here, up until the point where we kind of got styled on here. So I played my Titan, and I decided not to full here my hero. I thought there is no way that I'm gonna die next turn with 16 each HP and the current board that I have in place. I just didn't see a world where that could happen, up until the point where he dropped that card and rained terror on us here. So even though we lost, I quite enjoyed playing Ramp Druid. I think this deck has a lot of potential here. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. So for the next episode, we're going to be focusing on just one deck here. For kind of the first episode here, we just wanted to give all our loner decks a try here, so we kind of get a vibe of each of them and how they work. But for the next episode, we're just going to be focusing on one here and just only playing that deck, getting to know it more and getting better with it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like if you did and subscribe to see more gameplay. Peace.